Hey guys, alright, so continuing where we left off, we now have our player, we have our health manager with its wonderful little life bar, all that kind of stuff going on. Now let's see if we can't actually test this thing out, make it functional, and have our static monster here kind of put the hurting on our player. And then the next thing we do is to the player. Right now, all we have the player is our shooting thing. Okay, you can fire, you can shoot your little bullets. What we want to do is have our monster be able to damage our player. So what I want to do is I want to add a new FSM to the player. Okay, and from this we want to do that the ye old on collision. So we want to do physics, do a collision event, and add that, and we have to change our tag. Okay, and the reason is that player controllers are a little bit different than your standard rigid objects. So what we have to do is we have to change this collision event to be a on controller collider hit, and this only works on the player on our player controlled objects, to where you have this on collider hit, to where when it makes in contact with an object, it can send this back. So what we're going to do is our monster here is going to need to be tagged as a monster, just like we did the bullet. So click on our monster, go to our inspector, and we need to tag it. So tag, add a tag on here. I'm going to put monster. Okay, and then go back to our inspector. So now it is a monster. Okay, and then when we go back to the player, state 1, untagged, change that to monster. Alright, so whenever it enters a monster, we need to trigger an event. Let's say hurt. Okay, that's going to be our event. Let me change that name actually. Let's call this one let's just say hit. Alright, cancel. I don't want it to be a global event. I guess I do want it to be a global event. We'll come to that here in a minute. So what I want to do is I want you to send the event of hurt. Okay, event not used by any state or any global transition. So what I want to do is I want to add a state. Right, add a state, add a transition, hurt, just like that, and then go to the action browser. And what we need to do is, this is going to be our, actually let's see here, that's going to be a global one. Let me change this real quick. Alright, so what I've done is I went and added an event hit, okay, to this. So let me change that transition to hit and then mix it over. Because what I want to do is this needs to just be local, and then we're going to go to state 2. So once we've made contact with the monster, we need to send hit, and then from there that needs to do a send event. Alright, so where it says state machine, okay, there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff in state machine, and all these end up with having to do with transferring events and things between two different state machines, okay, and different objects. It's kind of like a signal and receive kind of thing, like tuning into different radio stations. So what we want to do is we want to send an event. Alright, in this event we're going to send an event after a delay. To send events between FSMs, they must be marked as global in the events browser. Okay, so what we want to have happen is we want to send that event, and the target isn't going to be the self, it's going to be a game object's FSM. Okay, and the owner needs to be a certain game object. Okay, and that game object is going to be in our scene, and it's going to be our health manager. Remember that thing? Yeah, it's going to be our health manager because it has our heal and our hurt that go in it, right? Well, what we need to do is we need to send a heal or a hurt. In this case, because we're dealing with a monster, we need to send a hurt. Okay, so back to our player. Here's our state 2, send our event, and the send event needs to be hurt. Okay, now if yours didn't come up or whatever, what you're gonna have to do is you go to events, go to your event browser, and make sure that your hurt and your heal are checked in the event browser. This will turn them global. Okay, that's what it basically does, is set these as global. It means multiple FSMs can use them. These other guys that are not checked, they're only local. They only stay within those in those side the states that they're in. But for this case, heal and hurt need to be global signals that are sent out to the kind of the global game state in order to report back on our player's status. So what we want to have happen is send out that hurt. All right, the FSM needs to be the original FSM. So here we go. The game object is going to be the health manager. The FSM for it, the send event, is going to be hurt, and that's how we're going to send it. Then we need to have a finished. All right, so once it's sent out, it needs to go back to hit. All right, so let's see what happens. So is our monster set as a monster? We have our collision bit set up. Let's see how these things work. So I go and I bump, and I bump, and I bump, and well, as you can see, our health bar went to 0. Let's try that one more time. So here's our health bar, blink, and it's gone. Wow, what's happening here? Is it draining it that fast? Let's go. Let's look. Okay, here's our health manager. Here's our events. Here's our variables. Let's go to global variables, and there's our player health. Player health is currently at 10. So let's hit play. So here we see it. Player health is at 10. And I'm going to slide him and bump. Whoa, wow. Okay, that was all, took him all the way down to 8. Whoa, took him all the way down to 3. Jeez, okay, that's going way fast. We're going to have to put a delay in here someplace. But we've got another problem. Right now, our life bar is not draining the way it should. So let's fix our delay first, and then we're going to work on fixing that life bar, making it report what we need to report. So I'll tell you what we need to do is we can either do it in the player here, or we can do it in the health manager. I'm going to say let's put it in the player. So what I want to do is I want to send that event hurt, okay? And then go back to the action browser, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a wait, okay? The delay may take care of that after a time delay, but I'm just going to do a little wait. Add that action to that state, do an event, call it done, okay? And so instead of finished, I'm going to add done, go back to state, whenever it's finished event, say done, time 1, that'll be fine. So what I want to have happen is I want it to send the event, then wait before it can go back to where it can be hit again. So what happens is it's only going to drain off once every second, sort of like a momentary invincibility vulnerability used to have back in the old school games. So that should pause this from happening. So let's try it. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, see, now it's working one hit every few moments. So now let's go back to our health manager and look at our variables and our global variables, and we have 6 health left. Alright, so now why is our player norm health not working? So alright, to fix the health bar, we're going to have to make a couple of changes to our health manager. I knew it was going to be bugged. So what we need to do is go in with health and hurt. Remove the multiply here. Remove the multiply here. And add a new state. In this state, I'm just going to call math. Okay. It's basically going to be our normalize. Okay. So what we want to have happen is when these things finish, we now want to go to math. Okay. That's what we want to have happen. And what we're going to do inside of math is we're going to go to logic, and we are going to set we're going to go under math, set float value, and what we need to do is set the float value of normal health from the updated player health. Okay, and so normal health right now is at a negative 0.5. The player's health here is at 10. So now we need to go and do a float multiply of normal health, multiply it by that negative 0.05. Okay, so what we want to have happen is that we need to set our, what happens is you have your life bar. When it heals or hurts, it's going to update the math, and if you're not dead, you've got some health left, or you have more health than you did. We then take the updated player global health, send it to our math, okay, which is going to, or normalize, okay, that'd be a better way of calling it, normalize, right? We're going to normalize this into something that can be used on the life bar, okay? So at the start it should be 0.5, and then as we take damage, this should now send things back. Let me make sure I've got a finished here. Send that back to the life bar. So it goes out and then back in. So you see that every time I take damage, it's coming back, and you can see that the health bar is now bringing itself down. Okay. To the point that now we're dead. Game over. Alright. So sorry for the confusion on that one. It's just a way of keeping things a little bit separate, making sure that we have our math to normalize things. Alright. See you next time.